more money per capita than any other group in history of foreign aid from organizations like the UN and the EU. So why are they not thriving? When the Palestinians themselves will care more about building roads and building schools than about building bombs and destroying their neighbor, then we will see peace in the area. The people across the street would have you believe that this is about occupation. They said Israel should get out of the security zone in southern Lebanon. Israel left in 2000. They said Israel should get out of Gaza, and Israel got out 2 years ago. Israel's leadership has continued to try to offer land for peace. What has the result been? Not friendship or peace, not an end to hostility and extremism. Instead, terrorism, violence, and incitement have soared. Hamas has become stronger than ever in Gaza, launching 4 times as many rockets into Israel as before disengagement. 4 times. And Hezbollah has become stronger and more violent in the north. We all remember very well what happened last summer. So I say to the people across the street that they are wrong, and you need to say that with me. This is not about Israeli occupation. It's about the continued persecution of Jews, this time in their own homeland, in a world that has more than 50 Muslim countries. One Jewish state is too many. The people across the street say they stand for tolerance. They are lamenting about the 40 years ago when Israel redeemed Jerusalem. But what did the Israelis find when they fought and won back Jerusalem from the Jordanians 40 years ago? Under Jordan's rule, 57 Jewish synagogues and Jewish schools had been destroyed. The centuries-old stones were used for bathrooms and animal paths by Jordan. And prior to Israel reclaiming Jerusalem, no Israelis, not Christians or Jews, were allowed to go to the holy sites in Jerusalem. And what has happened since Israel has been governing its own capital, Jerusalem? What has happened since then? All religions and their holy sites are scrupulously protected. Israel has brought freedom of religion to Jerusalem. And so do the people across the street want to turn the clock back 40 years? Then we should say they support intolerance, violence, and prejudice. The people across the street claim Israel violates human rights. Yet they defend groups who violate the most fundamental of human rights, the right to live. We should say to the people across the street, they are anti-human rights. What do the people across the street know of the Jews' 3,000-year-old history? What do they know of oppression and persecution that Jews have faced for thousands of years and continue to face with their distortions and their libel about Israel? What do they know of the heart and the soul of the Jewish people? Because despite all of it, Israelis still hope for peace. And longing for peace has always filled their songs and their prayers. Israel is the only country in the world that wins defensive existential wars and turns around and offers land for peace to those who try to destroy her. Despite the stark reality of the existential threat from Iran's president, who continues to promise the annihilation of the Jewish state, and the constant threat of terrorism from their neighbors, Jews do not focus on hate or revenge. Israel is a vibrant, multi-ethnic society that tries to do good for the world and does good for the world. And this little country, no bigger than the size of New Jersey, with no natural resources, has developed its rich human resources. They continually give gifts to the world. Israel's cutting-edge biomedical, scientific, and technological innovations celebrate and protect the environment and life itself. Israel shares these innovations with the world, from its eye clinics in Africa to its training in the desert regions for emerging nations. Israel's Save a Child's Heart brings children from all over the Middle East for free heart transplants. Their research is helping even the crippled walk again, which is why Christopher Reeves flew to Israel. Israel's humanitarian and medical missions to Turkey, Southeast Asia, and the Ukraine and Mauritania have saved literally thousands of lives. 40 years ago, Israel saved itself against Arab armies intent on her destruction. We are standing here today because Israel survived in 1967, and Israel lives today. As Pastor Hagee of the Christians United for Israel said so well in March of this year in Washington, D.C., Israel lives, and Israel, we stand with you. So everybody, repeat after me. Israel lives. Israel lives. Shout it from Sderot. Israel lives. Israel lives. Shout it from Haifa. Israel lives. Shout it from Kiryat Shmona. Israel lives. Shout it from Jerusalem. Israel lives. All who support justice and human rights, shout with me. Israel lives. And all of you who have hope for the future filled with peace and religious tolerance, shout with me. Israel lives. Israel lives. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Roz. That's Stand With Us.